kids get older, and the systems are not going to be able to do everything. And so if we have a forum where people can share information, it can be so great, because many people are doing things in the same parts of the country and they don't realize it, and they could share their resources.
Well, and I think also a lot of us are doing, we don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Right,
and
correct.
So trying to figure out, okay, this person's doing something similar to what I'm doing. If we can join forces,
exactly,
we could be so much more powerful in numbers.
Exactly. So we can create our own systems that way.
Absolutely. So now, how is Jeremy today?
Jeremy's doing great. He still requires 24-hour supports. We're still working on that independence piece, which has been helped with vision therapy, because he had a lot of problems with vision processing, which affects your fine motor skills and how you can sequence and so forth. But he is going to community college. He only takes one class a semester because he also is a staff writer on the college newspaper.
Oh my goodness.
So all that is a lot of work, and his typing is kind of slow. He has just finished co-authoring a book with me, so it's his first book and it's my fifth, and it's called A Full Life with Autism. It'll be coming out March 2012 with Macmillan, and it's all about the transition to adulthood. So it's his perspective as a young person on the spectrum and what he wants out of life, and then there's my point of view as a parent trying to help him through it, and then also my professional point of view of all the statistics and the research and what are other people doing around the country.
Wow.
But what I love about it is that Jeremy decided that he wanted to give advice to parents, and he has a top 10 at the end of each chapter from his point of view, telling parents advice for their kids in those different areas like employment or housing or support staff. And I've learned a lot just reading what he had to say.
Oh my goodness, that must be so nice after all the years of not being able to to have a conversation.
Yes.
Now you can have a conversation, and that real, not that you wouldn't have a relationship before, but it's a deeper relationship.
Yes.
And I think that's, as parents, that's what we all want.
Yes.
I know I have a 9-year-old, and he has, limited language. He's doing better, but I can't wait for that day where he can, tell me what he's feeling.
Right.
And I think that's wonderful that Jeremy can tell you that.
Right. And I think it's important to note to people, too, that don't think because your child is not speaking when they're young that they will never speak. And also, don't put off using assistive technology or another alternative means of communication thinking that's going to prohibit speech, because all the research shows that if you use something else, it helps speech come along. And in fact, I see that with Jeremy. He echoes often what he's typing.
Really?
Yes, and then there are some adults who have gone from being totally nonverbal to reading out what they type. So they still type it first and then they read it, but they're finding ways to communicate. So it's a really important message for people out there. Don't be focusing just on the speech, focus on communication.
And I think that's important for all of us to realize there's not a window. We always hear that window, right?
Right.
And I know once my child passed the age of 6, I thought, oh my goodness, now what happens? And you know what? They just keep getting better, and it's wherever they're supposed to be. And I think of it as a race. They have the turtle and the hare, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so eventually they're going to cross that finish line.
Right.
My son happens to be a turtle. That's okay. I mean, I can still see the light at the end of that tunnel. And I think wherever our kids are supposed to be, we're right there cheering for them.
That's right.
All along the way. And I think we get so wrapped up, and I said this yesterday, we were on a panel, and I said this yesterday, we get so wrapped up in recovery. And I think we forget about relationship.
Exactly.
Because then when we had our babies to begin with, what was the very first thing we thought of? We couldn't wait to have a relationship. And I think we get so focused on, are they talking? Are they looking? Are they this? Are they that?
Yeah.
As long as our kids are happy and they're feeling okay, and that's really when you
Well,
look at
and as
biomedical.
long as they're continuing to
improve.
progress, to reach their potential. So their
Absolutely.
potential might not be what you want it to be, but it is what their potential is.
Even a neurotypical child.
Exactly.
You have all these hopes and dreams, and I have
I
typical
know.
friends, and I'm like, well, we can't control that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Everybody wants their kid to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer, not a laborer. But that doesn't happen. But I wanted to get back to the point that you were saying about the window of opportunity, because that's a really important message. I interviewed a lot of people on the spectrum from my book, Autism Life Skills, to ask them what was important to them growing up, and I put the advice in that book. But the thing is that many of them did not acquire certain skills until they were older.
That's wonderful.
And so that window of opportunity never closes. In fact, research shows that there's another brain spurt during the teen years.
Wonderful.
Yes, a brain growth spurt. And so that's another area or opportunity. But also think of someone like Temple Grandin. I've known her now for about 12 years. She writes the forwards to my books. And when I first met her, you couldn't get within 10 feet of her, and she was very uncomfortable at the conferences. She was as skittish as a horse. And now, you know, she appears very comfortable, and you can go up and talk to her, and she's signing books. She puts her arm around you, and she calls me up, and she'll have a conversation. And those are not things that she did 10 years ago. And she's in her early 60s now. And so, you know, anybody that tells you that windows of opportunity close have no clue what they're talking about.
And I absolutely agree. And I want to make sure before we end, I want you guys to know all these amazing books that Chantal has. You have Autism Spectrum Disorders, Adolescents on the Autism Spectrum, Life Skills, and then also 41 Things to Know About Autism. And then, as you said, your new book is coming out in March, A Full Life with Autism, that your son has co-wrote.
That's written. That's right.
One of those words.
One of those words.
And if you guys want more information, again, make sure to visit her website at autismcollege.com. Also, if you've missed the lectures here, I know you lectured here this weekend. Make sure to go to nationalautismassociation.org and look at those presentations. And I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for all the amazing work that you're doing.
And thank you for what you're doing to help get information out.
You know, it's us moms out there, right?
Exactly. You know.
Well, and thank you to all of you guys, too, for allowing us to bring hope into your homes. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Autism Approved with Kristen Selby Gonzalez. Please join us next week for another episode brought to you by Enzymedica.